Activision is no stranger when it comes to ruining franchises. I think we can all agree on that. But the most painful one to me is easily what they did with Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero, when it initially came out, was ran by two companies, Red Octane and Harmonix. Red Octane would work on developing the hardware, as in the physical guitar controllers, and Harmonix would focus on the software and developing the game itself. Now, these two companies were, to put it simply, a match made in heaven, because the mentality of both aligned perfectly. Both Red Octane and Harmonix understood that Guitar Hero was going to not only be a fun game to simulate you being in a rock band, but it was also going to be a haven for music discovery. One of the developers at Harmonix even acknowledged this when he said, lots of 10 and 12-year-olds are going to buy this game. It's our mission to make sure they learn about music they may not otherwise hear about. And that plan definitely succeeded, as a lot of us who were born in the late 90s and early 2000s were introduced to rock music through Guitar Hero. Overall, you could just tell that Harmonix and Red Octane both understood the culture of rock music very well, as not only seen by the aesthetic of the first two Guitar Hero games, but through the song choices as well. However, despite this, Guitar Hero 1 didn't really make too much noise, and a lot of bigger companies in the industry were passing up on it. Interestingly enough, one of those companies was Activision. In an interview, the CEO of Activision, Bobby Kotick, said that Guitar Hero was padded around to everybody, and we looked at it and said, who's gonna buy a peripheral like that? However, everything changed when Guitar Hero 2 dropped. Guitar Hero 2 took everything that the first game did and improved on it. It had way more songs, improved on the mechanics, and this game received a whole lot more attention. Guitar Hero 2 was a game in which a lot of people, fans, and other companies alike started to look in this franchise's direction. One of those companies, of course, being Activision. And this is where things started to go downhill. Activision, of course, wanted in on the action, so they ended up buying out Red Octane. Then they go on to replace Harmonix with Neversoft, the developers of the Tony Hawk games. Activision essentially came in and got rid of the two companies that actually understood the culture and soul of rock music. Nevertheless, Guitar Hero 3 comes out, and it takes the world by storm. This was a Guitar Hero game that became somewhat of a pop culture phenomenon. However, one thing I forgot to mention is that when Activision bought out Red Octane and got rid of Harmonix, they indirectly created competition for themselves. Because Harmonix went on to create Rock Band, and Rock Band was immediately a massive success because you were able to play with 4 people as an entire band rather than just one instrument. Now, eventually, Guitar Hero did release World Tour, and in that game you were able to play as a full band as well, but because Rock Band had already been out for some time, people didn't care nearly as much. World Tour sold half of the copies that Guitar Hero 3 did, and it was at this point that Activision lost their marbles and started just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if something would stick. In 2009 alone, Activision released Guitar Hero Metallica, Smash Hits, Guitar Hero 5, DJ Hero, Band Hero, Guitar Hero Van Halen, all in the same year, all of which didn't perform well at all. In 2010, they went on to release Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, in which, honestly, in my opinion, it was a really good game. But by that point, people were far checked out of the Guitar Hero franchise as a whole. Activision went on to close their Guitar Hero studio in 2011, and that was that. The franchise was dead by that point. Now, yes, there is still a sizable community that play Clone Hero for sure, but Guitar Hero is just another example of a franchise that could have lasted way longer than it did, but was of course ruined by corporate greed.